been told to explain what generics are, what their benefits are, and how they're used in my code. So generics are not a specific or to particular data type. They are done by adding a angle bracket t to their methods, fields, and classes. So it allows for code repetition, code reusability, and reduces code repetition and from various data types. Yeah. So here we have the account class that we'll be using to demonstrate our project. So here we created a MyStack class that takes in a generic data type t. So here we have a generic array. As you can see, instead of an integer or like let's say double usually, here we just put a t which takes in from whatever we've given it, and then with a count created is our object constructor that creates a new a new generic array that takes in whatever capacity we want, so it makes it the size. So we have the push function that takes in a t value argument, a generic argument, and then we have a pop that returns a generic type. It basically removes the last element of the array. The most recent element in the array. So here we have the find function that returns a t value. Here we have the function t bool method. So essentially bool is the return type and t will be the like parameter, and it checks for the criteria. I'll show you how it's implemented later. So here we have if the criteria is null, we throw an exception, and then here we have a code that starts at the top of the stack, and if true, it returns the array, else it returns the default. And then we have the find all that returns a array of generic type with the same function here. Returns null, it returns an exception if it's not, the criteria is null. And then here we have the code, so list t, so it's a generic list based on whatever we've given it, and it creates a new list of that type. And then here we add the arrays if they are met, and then we convert the list to an array because we want an array. Here we have remove all, that removes all elements except that satisfies the criteria. So here with the code, it ships all the elements. So if we check if it's less than the count, and then if the criteria meets the array, then we shift all elements to the left that meets the criteria. When shifted, the target element is replaced by the next element, removing it. And we clear the last element, we update the count of the array, and we adjust the I because it was shifted to the left, replacing the previous element, and we increase the result that gives us the number of elements we hold, because we want an integer that tells us how many was removed, and we return the result. So with the max, it returns the maximum value stored in the respective MyStack. So if empty, we return the default. And then we have the compare method. So compare t, compare generic is an object inheriting from the compare sort of the compare from type t. So but to use the compare, we have to use the iComparable interface that imposes compulsory compare to the other method, which compares current element to the others and returns less than 0 if it's smaller than 0 if it's equal, and larger than 0 if it's larger. And we have the same for the generic minimum, but except we return the minimum value stored in our MyStack. So I'll show you how it's done in my code. So here we created the account objects, so we created 5, and we created our object for our MyStack. So we put in account type because that's what we want, and then new MyStack object, 5 elements, and then we push our accounts we created into our stack. So we push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts, and then here we use the find method. We use the catch exception because our code does throw exceptions, so we use the try catch block. So here we have the find method that finds account with a specific balance. Here we have account type, and then we use the MyStack, and we call the find function, which this is the parameter. So the parameter is the criteria that we have that our function checks. And here we have the find all method that uses the account array as storing the result. We have the find all function called from MyStack that we give the criteria, and then we use a for each to print out the account names and balance in the array we have. And we have the catch to catch whatever exceptions, because our method does throw exceptions. And then we have to remove all that calls the remove all function from MyStack and gives the criteria, and it writes line the number of accounts removed. So it's because our remove all function returns the integer of how many accounts removed. And then we have the max method and the minimum method. We essentially just call it, and it'll just look at the maximum and minimum, and then we print out the information of it. So I'm just gonna run the code real quick. So yeah, it prints out all the information we want, and we also had some exceptions because we were told to demonstrate the exception handling. Yep, thank you. We have the find all method that uses the account array as storing the result. We have the find all function called from MyStack that we give the criteria, and then we use a for each to print out the account names and balance in the array we have. And we have the catch to catch whatever exceptions, because our method does throw exceptions. And then we have to remove all that calls the remove all function from MyStack and gives the criteria, and it writes line the number of accounts removed. So it's because our remove all function returns the integer of how many accounts removed. And then we have the max method and the minimum method. We essentially just call it, and it'll just look at the maximum and minimum, and then we print out the information of it. So I'm just gonna run the code real quick. So yeah, it prints out all the information we want, and we also had some exceptions because we were told to demonstrate the exception handling. Yep, thank you.